It's good news for the Blues. Get in! Leicester City 1, Everton 2, player ratings. I am absolutely over the moon. Absolutely over the moon. I've just gone onto Twitter. I've seen the videos and the pictures of all of those travelling Evertonians still in the stadium now, singing and shouting and screaming their hearts out after the game finished, half an hour, 40 minutes ago? Something like that. Just unbelievable. The support today, I think we showed today that we are the best fans in the world. It's as simple as that. We mightn't be the best team in the world, we mightn't have the best players in the world, but we are the best fans in the world. No other team would sell out game in, game out, be it away from home, be it at home, and no other team would get behind their players like we have done in a situation like this. No other club would do that, bar an Everton Football Club. We are the best football club in the world. It's as simple as that. The best fans in the world, the best club in the world. I fucking love this football club so much. This is my football club, and I'm going to have to stop this because I'm going to start getting a little bit teary-eyed and upset, and I'm not getting teary-eyed and upset when I'm doing the player ratings. But what a win that was today. What an absolutely unbelievable win that was today. So needed, but not only so needed, so deserved as well. You know, we said going into this game after the Chelsea game that this was going to be a real test. You know, Chelsea was amazing. The whole day was amazing. The greeting the coach before the game and, you know, the atmosphere during the game and after the game. It was just a very much a perfect day this time last Sunday. But we always knew this one was going to be a different level of difficult. We were away from home for the start, and we know our away form this season has been absolutely atrocious. We were against a side that obviously had just come off the back of a defeat, so they were going to be looking to bounce back and put a performance in. And, you know, it was always going to be a difficult task. You know, we had 40,000 Evertonians at Goodison Park screaming and shouting and making noise last Sunday, and it was up to the 3,000 odd Evertonians, 2,000 odd Evertonians, however many went down today, to make it sound like they were 40,000. Did you know what? However many of those Blues went down today, and it was a 2,000, 3,000, something like that, they didn't just make it sound like there was 40,000. They made it sound like there were 100,000 of us down there today. The support, the atmosphere, the singing, the screaming, the shouting, just everything was just unbelievable. The best away end I've heard all season. And you know, again, you might think that's bias. You might say, oh, that's blue tinted glasses, whatever. But I've heard away ends at Goodison. I've heard away ends when I've watched other games on the telly. I've never heard an away end be as vocal and be as loud as that all season. The fans were unbelievable today. And do you know what? As they did last week, and as they have done before at Goodison, but really away, the players reacted to the fans today. The players dug deep, they worked hard, they give grit, they give determination, they give desire, and they come out with a well-deserved 3 points. Yes, Jordan Pickford was called into action on a couple of occasions and had to make a couple of world-class saves. But as Jordan has said in his post-game interview, that's what he's there to do. That's what he gets paid to do. That's what his job is. You know, I think he said something along the lines of, it's important to not get too carried away because that's what I'm there to do. I'm there to make them saves. I'm there to, you know, to deny those opportunities, and that's exactly what he's done today. He was phenomenal. He was absolutely phenomenal. Mikhailenko was unbelievable. Alex Iwobi was unbelievable. Richarlison, Damari Gray, Anthony Gordon never stopped working hard all game. Abdoulaye Doucouré, Fabian Delph, everyone, every single one of those Everton players today didn't just give everything, didn't just work hard, but tactically put in a really, really, really good performance. You know, we had the lead from the 30th minute and managed to see the game out, and not just see the game out by sitting back and defending. You know, we did that for the final 15, 20 minutes, and I'm sure we were all watching the final 15 and 20 minutes sort of, you know, with our head, our hands, our head in our hands, and you know, biting our nails and whatever else. But for the rest of the game, we didn't just sit back and invite pressure. We got at Leicester. You know, we created other opportunities. We had 2 or 3 other chances which we could have, you know, put us clear. Before Leicester scored their goal, their equaliser, we had a chance. We hit the post and forced Kasper Schmeichel into making a good save at the other end of the pitch. So we could have been 2-0 up before they even got the chance to counter. We were brilliant today, and it was, again, it's been another perfect weekend, I think, for Everton. Last weekend was perfect for Everton in the sense of that just Sunday was unbelievable. It was, as I said last week, and I'll say it again, the best experience I've witnessed as an Evertonian probably ever in my lifetime. This weekend is as much of a perfect weekend as we could have asked for, really, isn't it? Burnley losing, Watford losing, Leeds losing, and us picking up an absolutely monumental 3 points away from home. A monumental 3 points away from home. The Evertonians are still in the King Power now, by the way. Still in the King Power now, screaming and shouting. And I'm not just talking 10 or 15 Blues or the odd Blues. Every single Evertonian is still in that King Power stadium now. And those stewards will have a very, very, very difficult time trying to shift those Evertonians, because nobody will want to go home, because nobody will want to lose that feeling and that joy and that happiness and that emotion and that relief and that just pure feeling of joy and just ecstasy as to what we've all just felt when that final whistle was blown. I've just been sat in ours, and as soon as I found out the final whistle had been blown, I screamed. Now, I was sat in ours in front of the telly. My ma was looking up at, I don't know, some shit on Etsy. My dad was watching the game with me, but we both screamed when the final whistle was blown. That's how much it means. That's how much we needed that win today. I think we all went into this game saying, you know what, if we can get a point out of this one, and then 3 out of Watford, that's 4 out of 2 away games, which would be absolutely unbelievable considering our away form this season, and then we go and win the 2 at home. But you know what? There's no reason why we can't get 9 out the next 9. There's no reason why we can't beat Watford on Wednesday. They're absolutely awful at home. They've officially been relegated now, so they've got nothing to play for. And then the 2 home games are absolute must-wins, again against 2 teams that have got nothing to play for. So imagine we're coming out of, the next 4 games with 12 points. I don't think it will go down to Arsenal on the final day of the season. Then I think we'll be okay. Again, we've got 4 finals to go. We've just had 2 finals and we've won the both of them. We've got another 4 to go. And as Jordan Pickford has said, as Frank Lampard has said in their post-game interviews, today was unbelievable, as was last Sunday, but it isn't the end. We've got to go again. And it's the same for us fans. It was unbelievable greeting the coach at Finch Farm yesterday. It was unbelievable greeting the coach outside of Goodison on Sunday. But now we've got to do it again. We've got to greet the coach, on Tuesday, if we can, before the Watford game, which will be difficult because people work and stuff like that. But if we can do anything, then get down and do it. We've certainly got to greet the coach before the game against Brentford at the weekend, Palace at the weekend, Brentford at the weekend. The home games have got to be as they were, if not better than Chelsea. Because it clearly has an effect on this Everton team. And these players clearly react to that atmosphere and that support, I think, is what it comes down to. I mean, I've said time and time again on this channel, when Everton have won games, when Everton have lost games, that we have a squad full of players who are very much confidence-based players, and it makes absolute sense that when a fan base gets behind a group of players that, perform based off of confidence, those players gain more confidence in the fact that the fans are behind them, in the fact that they start to believe in their own ability. Look at Michael Keane as a perfect example. Michael Keane was phenomenal today when he come on. Absolutely phenomenal. He was great against Manchester United. Mason Holgate, I've just read something about Mason Holgate then, before coming on air. Mason Holgate was sick in the pre-game warm-up today before the game. He didn't travel up with the rest of the squad. He had to travel up on his own because he's been unwell. He's felt unfit. He hasn't trained for the last 2 days. He's had, whatever it is that's wrong with him, he's physically been sick, and yet he still insisted on playing today. He still demanded that he played. Not demanded in a way that I am playing, but he still insisted that he wanted to play, he wanted to perform, he wanted to give everything. And not only has he put in a really good defensive performance today, but he scored the winning goal. That's the type of fucking commitment we want to see. Players that are willing to give, are willing to put their bodies on the line, their fitness on the line for Everton Football Club. Themselves on the line for Everton Football Club. That's what Mason Holgate has done today. And he's come away scoring the winner. And a deserved goal as well. I think Mason's been brilliant in recent weeks. Vitaly Mikhailenko, absolutely world-class finish, and a deserved finish because he's been phenomenal in the last 4, 5, 6 weeks as well. He's been unbelievable. Again, I'm just absolutely over the moon. I'm absolutely over the moon. It's just that today is unbelievable. And I'm trying not to get too ahead of myself, because I am having these sort of feelings and thoughts of, yeah, we're sound now, we'll be all right now, that's it. But it's not. That's not the case. You know, without the relegation zone, which is unbelievable, a massive mental boost in terms of, you know, just looking at the league table and being able to sort of visualise the situation in which we're in. It's a massive boost to be out of that relegation zone, but it isn't over. You know, we know Burnley have lost today, Leeds have lost today, Southampton lost yesterday, but we've still got to beat Watford. We've got to put Watford to the sword on Wednesday. They are shite and they're down now. Again, as I said before the Leicester game, I'll say it again going into Watford. There is no way that I am willing to accept that those Watford players on Wednesday will want it more than these Everton players. The Watford players have got nothing to play for, and that might show a reaction because they've got nothing to play for. There's no pressure on them. There's no overwhelming loom of winning the game. That, you know, they might be. We see it time and time again with teams when they go down, you know, before the last game of the season, when they're officially relegated. Typically their last however many games they've got left to play, they're much better because there's less pressure, there's nothing on them, and they sort of just play with a freedom. There's almost a relief that it's done. But we can't afford to allow Watford to have that relief. We can't afford to allow Watford to feel that. We've got to get straight at them. We've got to remind them as to why they've already been relegated, and we've got to remind them as to why we won't be relegated. And then the two home games, as I said, are absolute must-wins as well. Absolute must-wins. But today is massive. 6 points out the last 6. Two consecutive wins in the Premier League, which is just unheard of for Everton, really, especially this season. Yeah. It's a game that I don't think any of us will forget for a long time. Anyway, let's get straight into the player ratings, because that's what we're here to do. We have just done the instant match reaction. If you haven't checked that out, please do so. It only takes a second. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. Let's get straight into the player ratings then. Jordan Pickford, let's be honest, I think everybody would be able to guess what score I'm going to give Jordan Pickford here, and if you can't guess, then I don't know if we've just watched the same game of football, to be honest with you. Jordan is getting a 10. He's getting a 10. I think I've given Jordan Pickford the 10 2 weeks on the bounce now, maybe even 3 weeks on the bounce now. He certainly got a 10 against Chelsea, and he's getting a 10 again today. He, you know, again, I don't want to say single-handedly has won us that game, because, you know, Mikhailenko's goal is a beauty, and Mason Holgate's goal's a good header, and I think that, you know, defensively we stayed strong and we worked hard, and the midfield were compact, albeit not massively in control of the game, and the attack worked hard. But the reality of the situation is Jordan Pickford has just saved us again. You know, the last 2 games we've played well, but we've had moments where we've had 5 or 10 minute spells where the opposition have been on the upper hand, and you know, they've created chances and they've had opportunities, and twice in the last, well, multiple times, but you know, in the last 2 games we've called upon our goalkeeper to show that he is one of the best goalkeepers on this planet, and if you don't agree, you don't understand football and you're fucking thick. Simple as that. He is unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. He's world class. Jordan Pickford, one of the best goalkeepers on this planet. And do you know what? He isn't getting a 10 out of 10, because I've just remembered I didn't give him a 10 out of 10 last week. I gave him a 12 out of 10, but he's getting a 15 out of 10 this week, because A, we were away from home, and B, Jordan Pickford has just put in back-to-back performance of the season performances in 2 games, back-to-back. He's just made another 2 or 3 saves there that could be contenders for save of the season in back-to-back games. At this point, save of the season will just be a Jordan Pickford compilation at this point. He was unbelievable again today, absolutely unbelievable. And his interview at the end of the game, again, just tops it all off. He's so calm, he's so cool, he's so collected. You know, the Jordan Pickford of old would be buzzing about them saves and talking about them and talking about how great they were and how unbelievable he were and how great he is. just listen to his interview after the game today, and he literally just says, yeah, I'm there to make them saves. I made them saves. I'm not going to get over the top with myself. I'm not going to get too ahead of myself. You know, we move on now to next week and to Wednesday, and we look forward to that, and we've got to go and do it again. You know, he's so professional now. He's so calm. He's so cool. It's not, you know, nothing is an overreaction with him. Nothing is a massive drama with him. He's grown and matured as a goalkeeper so much in the last 18 months, and he's proven that he genuinely is one of the best goalkeepers on the planet, without a shadow of a doubt, without an absolute shadow of a doubt. You can sit there and have your arguments about the best goalkeeper in the Prem, this, that and the other. There genuinely isn't, and I say this with confidence, there isn't 4 better goalkeepers than Jordan Pickford in the Premier League. There isn't. You can have your Mendy, your Ederson, your Alisson. There's arguments for those, of course there is. Other than them, De Gea can get a fuck. He's nowhere near as good as Jordan Pickford. Nowhere near. Neither is Hugo Lloris. And any of the others aren't in the same bracket as Jordan Pickford either. This lad, he is unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. And he's shown it again today. 2 or 3. That save from Harvey Barnes from about 5 yards out is just... It's phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal. The reactions, how quick he is to get down, how quick he is to react. The save, I can't remember who it was who hit it. It was Mendy. The save from Mendy where he gets his arm to it. The save from Harvey Barnes from outside the box. That's 3 genuine world-class saves there. World-class saves that have ultimately won us this game of football. He is absolutely unbelievable, Jordan Pickford, and again today he's come up absolute clutch for us. His distribution was good. His overall goalkeeping, commanding of his area was good. Obviously he was not a fault for the goal. He had you know, very little, well, he had no involvement in the goal whatsoever, but overall today he was phenomenal. He was absolutely phenomenal, and again, he's shown just how good of a goalkeeper he really, really is. Left back then, Mikhailenko. Yes, you guessed it, a 10 out of 10. Not only does he get his first goal in an Everton shirt, what a first goal to get in an Everton shirt, by the way. An absolute rocket of a finish. Lovely chip ball in by Alex Iwobi, but he's got so much to do, Mikhailenko. The technique, the quality to hit that, with the pace that he hit it with the accuracy that he hit it with, right in the corner of Kasper Schmeichel's goal. It is an absolute peach of a goal. But not only that, his performance overall today, defensively, he was strong. He worked hard, he battled. He made 2 or 3 really, really big, crucial challenges that stopped Leicester from counter-attacking, and that stopped Leicester from, you know, getting forward and putting balls into the box. You know, and again, he showed over the last 4 or 5 weeks that no matter who you put him up against, whether you put him up against Cristiano Ronaldo, Mohamed Salah, you know, Patson Daka, Kai Havertz, Timo Werner, it doesn't matter who you put him up against, he'll absolutely pocket every one of them, as he has done with every one of those names I've just mentioned. You know, when his goal was so deserving today, so deserving. You know, you'd struggle to find an Everton player in that team that deserved that goal more than Vitaly Mikhailenko. You really, really would. He's been phenomenal recently. You know, obviously he's got a lot going on in his personal life, and he's had a difficult couple of months since joining Everton Football Club, settling into a new league, settling into a new country, all while, you know, you've got, again, absolutely terrifying circumstances going on in his home country, and yet he still manages to dig deep every week, work hard, battle, and put in consistent, unbelievable performances. And today he was absolutely fantastic. So he's getting a 10 out of 10 today. He's unbelievable, and you know, it was always going to be difficult for him to step in and replace what Luca Dean, you know, give to Everton, and the consistency Luca Dean brought in terms of his forward play and his attack and play. But he is quickly becoming a top quality left back, and again, considering his age and considering his circumstances, imagine where he'd be if everything was laid out perfectly on a plate for him. He's phenomenal. He's absolutely phenomenal. He's a magician. He's our magician. He's magic. You know, we can get to sing that song now again finally, which is fucking boss. Yeah. he's unbelievable. Vitaly Mikhailenko, he's absolutely unbelievable, and he showed that again today. Fantastic goal, of course, but not only a fantastic goal, defensively he was brilliant. Worked hard, battled. Yeah, he was absolutely great. He was absolutely great. Into the centre half then, Yerry Mina. I'm going to give Yerry a 6. Difficult to give him any more, I think, than a 6. Obviously, he went off fairly early on into the game after a collision with Seamus Coleman. I'm not actually sure whether the collision with Seamus Coleman was the reason as to why he ended up picking up the injury. Obviously, he was at fault for the goal to some extent, although I do think it's Seamus Coleman's fault for not just dropping back and watching where the ball goes. And, you know, all the Seamus has to do in that situation is drop off, watch where the ball goes. Yerry Mina is either going to head it forward, which means we can push out as a defensive unit, or he's going to head it behind him, and then Seamus Coleman can go for the second header. Instead, Seamus barges into the back of him, collides with him, and Patson Dachar obviously makes it 1-1 at that point. But before that, he made a wonderful, wonderful challenge block, Yerry Mina, in the opening couple of minutes to deny Leicester from going 1-0 up. Really, really good block. After Dachar he didn't get round Jordan Pickford. He got to the side of Jordan Pickford and took the shot. And Yerry Mina made a great block, practically on the line. And then he went off. So yeah, difficult to give him a particularly high score, really. All we can judge him off is the goal, which, as I said, I don't particularly think is his fault. And and the tackle, to deny Dachar early on in the game. Disappointing with Yerry Mina, isn't it? Because let's be honest, we all know that on his day, when he's fit, when he's available, and when he's at 100%, I've just slipped off my chair there, by the way. He is absolutely unbelievable. He's wonderful. He's world class. He's a top centre half, and he's a game winner for us. It's as simple as that. He's a game winner on his day. But when he, ultimately, his day isn't very often, and the reason for that is because of his injuries. Now, hopefully, this is just maybe a bit of a sort of caution from Frank Lampard. Maybe he's seen Yerry Mina took a little bit of a knock to the head. To be fair, when he went off, it looked like he was going to continue. It didn't actually look like he was going to go off. So maybe Frank Lampard has just not wanted to take that risk and has felt the confidence in bringing Michael Keane on to shore that up and have Yerry Mina back and fit for Wednesday against Watford. But that's all we can hope, really. I'm not confident in that. I'm not confident Yerry Mina will be back and ready for Watford. But as I said, it didn't look like too big of an injury, and he was sat on the bench watching the second half, so he obviously didn't need any sort of immediate medical attention. It seemed like it was a head injury as opposed to an injury of any part of or other part of his body, specifically his legs, obviously, which he struggled with recently. So hopefully it was a caution by Frank Lampard, and he's just sort of taken him off to make sure he didn't further injure himself and to make sure he's available for the next few games. But I'm sure we'll hear from Frank Lampard in the coming days, maybe even today, about Yerry Mina and the seriousness of that. But to be fair, Michael Keane come on and was absolutely phenomenal, and we'll talk about Michael Keane a little bit later on in the video. But yeah, Yerry Mina, I'll give him a 6 for coming on and ultimately working hard, and I say coming on for start and working hard and putting that block in. Mason Holgate next to him then, as I've just mentioned. Mason is getting a 10. Fuck it, he's getting a 10. We've just won away from home. We haven't won away from home since August. He's getting a 10. I think one thing that really sums Mason Holgate up is the tweet I've just read out there. And if you missed it, if you've just joined us late, just read the tweet there. I've retweeted it on our Twitter account that Mason Holgate was actually sick in the pre-game warm-up to this game. He hadn't trained for the previous 2 or 3 days. He travelled up separately to the rest of the squad because of an illness, and yet he still was adamant that he wanted to play this game of football today. He was still adamant that he wanted to work hard and he wanted to battle for the team and he wanted to give everything. He didn't want to let the club down, and not only has he come, as he started and defended really, really well. Couple of mishaps, couple of bits of miscommunication, and stuff like that. But for the most part, defended really, really well. But he also has got the winning goal, which is obviously fantastic for Mason. Absolutely fantastic for Mason, and today, I think he deserves that. I think he really, really does deserve that. He was strong, he was structured, He kept his concentration. He kept his head when he needed to. He was very reactive to the goal. He sort of knew that Kasper Schmeichel was going to parry that ball down, and obviously he got onto it first, and he jumped at that, which was great to see. And he loves a goal against Leicester, doesn't he, Mason Holgate? He loves a goal against Leicester, certainly away from home, and typically when he scores against Leicester, we win. So he's carried that form on. And again today, I thought it was a really, really good finish, and I thought his performance overall was fantastic as well. So yeah, he can get a 10 as well. Listen, you might say these player ratings are a bit blue-tinted glasses and are losing a bit of their authenticity now, but we're in a relegation battle and we've just won away from home for the first time since August, so it is what it is. It is what it is. Seamus Coleman then, right back. Seamus isn't going to get a 10 out of 10. I apologise for anybody that was wanting a whole round of 10 out of 10s. Seamus can get a... Seamus can get a 7. I think overall today, he done well. I think overall he battled, he worked hard. Defensively, I think barring a couple of mistakes, which we'll mention in a second, he done okay. He was solid. He seemed to lead the team. He seemed to battle. But the reality of the situation is that I can't ignore the mistake for the goal. The mistake for the goal is poor. It's really, really poor. All he needs to do, as I said, is back off of Yerry Mina and just allow him to make that decision, allow him to make that header. And then, as I said, if Mina heads it forward, then everything's fine. We push forward as a team. Pardon me. And if Mina heads it behind him, then Coleman is there to obviously sweep up and deal with that. But he doesn't. He clatters into him. And obviously Patson Daka ends up going and getting the equaliser at that point. And then there was another one or two moments where Seamus Coleman just found himself a little bit in the way, a little bit sort of in no man's land, and not really helping his teammates out by being there either. So as I said, I don't think he was, other than the mistake, which ultimately at this point doesn't matter. It simply doesn't matter because we've won the game, and I don't care that he's made the mistake because we've won the game, which is all that matters. But had we have not won that game today, it would have been down to a mistake from Seamus Coleman. So he's getting a 7. Into the midfield then, Fabian Delph. I'm going to give Fabian Delph an 8.5. I think his battle was there today. I think his desire was there. I think his determination was there. I think he put himself about. I think he worked hard. I think he showed that commitment. Again, all of the things that we've criticised Fabian Delph for not showing before in the past. I think he showed all of it. He didn't have a lot of control of the midfield. Neither did Abdoulaye Doucouré. Leicester controlled a lot of the ball. Leicester controlled a lot of the midfield, a lot of the pace of the game. But, it was clear that Everton and Frank Lampard and this midfield were happy to allow that to happen, because ultimately we stopped them from other than their equaliser, which was, let's be honest, come from an Everton mistake. We stopped them from creating any real sort of opportunities other than in the second half with the Harvey Barnes one. So yeah, as I said, wasn't massively in the game in terms of being on the ball, but sometimes in games like this, certainly in away games, you're not going to be on, we're in a relegation battle. We're coming up against a decent Leicester side away from home. We were never going to have 80% possession. It was never going to be a case of, we're going to absolutely bombard the midfield. I thought for what he was and for what he gave, I thought Fabian Delph done well today. Thought he done well. Abdoulaye Doucouré next to him. I'm actually going to give Abdoulaye Doucouré a 9 today, because I think he was a little bit better than Fabian Delph. I think he just edged Fabian Delph quite similarly. Obviously, they were in the same midfield. There wasn't a lot of control of the game. There wasn't a lot of control of the pace of the game. But their desire, their battle, their work rate, their commitment, their energy, their grit, their ability to dig deep and work hard and really dig in when they need to was evident today. And I thought Abdoulaye Doucouré did that on a couple of times. There was a couple of times when he won the ball back in dangerous areas. He won headers. He won it back on the floor, and he intercepted some really, really important pieces of play from Leicester, and those ended up creating counter-attacks for Everton and allowing us to move up the pitch and, ultimately stop them from getting back into the game and sort of kill the pace of the game a little bit and kill the confidence and kill their momentum, which was always needed, wasn't it? Yeah, Frank Lampard has given a update on Vitaly Mikhailenko and Yerry Mina. He has revealed that Yerry Mina will have a scan on a calf problem, so it wasn't a head injury, it was a calf problem he sustained in Sunday's 2-1 victory against Leicester City. He says that he is hopeful the issue will be Frank Lampard says that the issue which forced Vitaly Mikhailenko off midway through the second half was just cramp. So Lampard hopes that Mina's injury is not high level and the centre-back will be available to play a part in the Blues Premier League running. So Mina is a calf injury, which is not great, considering his problems with that muscle in the past. We can only hope that it's nothing serious, but nevertheless, I thought Michael Keane and Mason Holgate done really, really well together today. Mikhailenko's was cramp, so no problem shouldn't be a problem with Mikhailenko. He should be available for Wednesday. As for Yerry Mina, yeah, we'll wait and see. But anyway, Abdoulaye Doucouré is getting a 9 today, because thought he done really, really well. Alex Iwobi is getting a 10. He's getting a 10. Again today, work rate, desire, passion, commitment. He had the defensive role today, playing right wing back, of course, as we were playing with sort of a 5 at the back. And he's played in that position before. He's played well in that position before as well. Last season under Carlo Ancelotti at times he played in that position. And again today, I thought he was fantastic. Alex Iwobi, his desire, his work rate, his effort, his commitment, he was brilliant. He was absolutely brilliant. He never stopped running. Defensively, he was great going forward. Again, he wasn't massively involved in the game. It wasn't a an unbelievable attacking performance from him. But I don't think that was ever the game plan today from Alex Iwobi. I think the game plan today was more, defensively. Do your work defensively. Stop them from getting forward. Stop them from creating chances. Use your pace. Use your strength. Use your agility to frustrate Leicester and ultimately to stop them from creating any clear chances, and he did that for most parts in the game. I thought he was absolutely fantastic today. Alex Iwobi, again, another Alex Iwobi performance in which we all sit here, I think, and say, you know what, you were fabulous. You were absolutely fabulous there today. And yeah, he deserves all of the credit. So he is getting a 10 out of 10. Forward line then, Demarai Gray. I'm going to give Demarai an 8. I think he worked hard. I think he battled. I think he showed a lot of desire. He wasn't massively in the game. Creativity wasn't massively there. He wasn't massively, influential going forward. But he was good on the ball at times. His dribbling was good at times. He found his way out of a couple of sticky situations. He won a couple of fouls in good areas at good times in the game for us as well. And as I said, it didn't quite go for him in terms of what you would typically hope for and expect from Demarai Gray, but the effort was still there, the desire was still there, the work rate was still there. And yeah, I think he deserves credit for that. Anthony Gordon, quite similar really for Anthony Gordon to Demarai Gray. I'm going to give Anthony Gordon I give him an 8. Again, didn't quite work for him, but won fouls in dangerous areas when we needed them to. Battled, worked hard, used his body, used his pace, used his ability, used his determination, his desire. I think he was visibly quite tired towards the end of the game. I think we could all see that he was starting to get a little bit fatigued. He was starting to get a little bit, shattered in the final sort of 5, 10, 15 minutes. But that's understandable. He absolutely worked his bollocks off for the entirety of the game, as he does do every single time he puts on an Everton shirt, Anthony Gordon. But As I said, I think he was clever, although he wasn't massively in the game going forward, although he wasn't massively influential, up the top end of the pitch. He still caused them problems when we were counter-attacking, and he caused them something to think about when they were throwing everything at the ball, and they had to think about what we, at our defence, and they had to think about what what we had going the other way. I think Anthony Gordon caused them problems in that department. So, again, Anthony Gordon can get a 9, and then Richarlison's getting a 9 as well. Similarly, wasn't massively influential, up the top end of the pitch in terms of creating chances or scoring goals. But the reality of the situation is, he worked hard, he battled, he showed that desire, he showed that commitment, and he won 2 or 3 really, really important fouls, especially in that second half when we were under the cosh a little bit, and when we just needed to console the game and try and slow the game down and frustrate Leicester. Richarlison done really, really well at winning the ball back on a number of occasions in there at doing that. So yeah. Onto the substitutes bench then. Michael Keane is getting a... In fact, Michael Keane can get a 10 out of 10 as well. I think he come on... Don't think he made a single mistake. Don't think he was at fault for anything, really. I think the communication improved massively when he come on, and I'm not saying that it wasn't great when Mina was on. I'm just saying I think we settled down a lot more. I think he was alert to every ball that come into the box. He was something I've praised Yerry Mina for in the past, was being a ball magnet, being a player that is attracted to the ball. Michael Keane was that today, and Michael Keane hasn't been that in the past, but he was that today. Every time the ball come in, he was there. He was the first there to get it out, to head it out, to deal with it. And I think he was fabulous today, absolutely fabulous. So he's getting a 10 out of 10. Rondon can get a 6, I suppose. Come on, held the ball up, put his body about, put himself in the way, made a nuisance of himself. That was, I suppose, what he had to do. And then John Joe Kenny can get a 7. Obviously coming in to fill in that place for Vitaly Mikhailenko. It was evident that we dropped off a little bit when Mikhailenko went off, because Mikhailenko has been absolutely phenomenal recently. But yeah, he done okay. John Joe Kenny, I'm not just going to sit here and slag him off and have a go at him, because he done okay. Frank Lampard is getting a 10 out of 10. I think tactically he managed the game really well. I think he made the right decisions at the right times, and I think he made the right decision to shut up shop when he did. And then the Evertonians, I am giving the Evertonians a rating today, because it will be absolutely bonkers of me not to, and they're getting 100 out of 10. In fact, they're not. They're getting infinite out of 10. The Evertonians down at Leicester today showed why we are the best fans on the planet. They're probably still at the King Power singing now. We made that much noise and created that much of an atmosphere that you wouldn't have even thought it was at Goodison. You would have thought there was 100,000 Evertonians at the King Power today. You couldn't hear a Leicester fan. You couldn't hear a Leicester fan in the stadium. We were unbelievable today, and we showed, and we have shown over the last week, just how influential we can be on this team when we get behind them. And it works both ways. Works both ways. Works for us, works for the players, works for the manager. And we've got to keep doing that now. We've got to keep doing that now for the rest of the season. 6 points out the last 6. Massive 6 points. Massive win away. Consecutive wins in the Premier League. First away win since August. It feels like we might, I don't want to jinx anything, but it feels like we could be coming into a good run of form just at the right time, which would be unbelievable. Touch wood, touch wood. Anyway, we are going to finish it there then. If you have enjoyed this one, please do leave a like. If you are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. Massive thanks to everybody for watching live. Really, really do appreciate it. If you're watching the YouTube video, get your thoughts down below. Don't forget to check out the instant match reaction. It is up on the channel now if you want. I would appreciate it. But getting up the toffees. What a win. What a performance. I'm going to have a pint of beer with a burger, because that's what happened for me to get in up the Blues. Come on, Super Frankie Lampard, get in. See you later.